Welcome Aries to your in-depth monthly horoscope for April for the ascendant, the sun or the moon. On the screen now I'm showing the event chart right at the start of the month. Now the big takeout for you is the position of the midpoint between the sun and the moon, because it's 23 degrees in Pisces and you've still got Saturn and Neptune in the 12th house of Pisces. So as we come into this new month, yes, Mercury is going forwards in your sign, yes, Mars has arrived, which is a huge event for sure, and forging an amazing link to Pluto through the first week, and that can give you a furnace-like energy to gain momentum, initiate new plans and get on the front foot. But it just depends on where you are in your personal situation. So if it has felt, despite the total solar eclipse in your sign, that you've had one foot in the past as well as one trying to get more established in the present, then possibly the midpoint at the very start of this month suggests that there's more stuff to process. And you shouldn't put yourself under pressure to move immediately into the present if that's where you are. That's just the position of your personal situation at the present time. If your past is more resolved and you are able to go for it in the here and now, you really can put your foot hard to the proverbial floor, because it's one of the most stunning influences you can have in astrology, and it hasn't happened between your sign, Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius for over 200 years. And it is a furnace-like energy, because the determination that your ruler Mars can give you and the will that Pluto can give you about some kind of future plan can be absolutely considerable. Now, if you're in a third group of people who has been working diligently away on something that is important to you in the here and now, maybe there have been some things that you've been working around about your past or deeper psychological issues, but mainly you've been patiently working away, this is going to be a big month and it can see some significant breakthroughs. So let's wind back to the start of the month, and on the screen now you can see the event chart. So there's the midpoint at 23 degrees in Pisces. But also we have those two players in your 11th house. Friendships and associations are going to be important this month, but also some people may make way if they're not the right people for you any longer. I think that's an absolute fact. And you could find yourself being a little bit more feisty about who you will spend time with. You're tired of giving your energy to the people who don't reciprocate to you. You want people who really understand and honour who you are, what you're about. You don't want to have to fight for their attention. So that is going to be a factor this month. But of course, the cluster of energy that's in the sign of Taurus is potentially about money, and having Venus that's just edged into that area can be actually very positive for you. It's just that if you have got some kind of improvement around your finances, the position of Pluto and the moon to Venus is suggesting be cautious about who you're extending your generosity to. But you also have that set of energy still beyond Mars in your sign, and that includes the part of fortune, pretty close to the North Node, Mercury, very close to the North Node too, and Chiron. So there's still a lot of potential for you beyond Mars to influence things through your communicational skills, Mercury, through your instincts, the North Node, and through being prepared to work on the things that perhaps have stopped you from fully appreciating your self-identity, Chiron. So a lot of energies, really, if you think about it, across the sign of Aquarius, Pisces, your sign, and Taurus. But as you go into this month, what can we expect? Well, with Pluto going retrograde on the 2nd, if you're not quite so sure about your future plans, but you do feel that something needs to change, you could go through quite a large period of reflection. And that may also include what you do for a living, and that can become much more obvious to you from the 2nd of September through to the 20th of November. But just try to flow with it, because Mars, your ruler, aligning with Pluto is going to make you very dynamic in one way or another at the start of this month, whether it's socially, around a relationship, around an interest, your career, or perhaps around your philosophical interests. Absolutely. And perhaps even around your network. We still have the outstanding energies of Jupiter and Uranus in your second house. And if you are someone who's very open-minded about how you use resources, as those two crested into an alliance on the 21st of April, but also in a great angle to your ruler Mars, past efforts, past dedication, the experience and knowledge you've accumulated over a long period of time, if you adapt it and apply it in some kind of fresh way, can see growth. So you've got good things around your finances possible this month, and that's emphasized further still on the 8th with the new moon. That new moon, pretty close to Uranus, but in a very solid link to Saturn. So Saturn over the last year may have asked some questions in terms of loyalties, outstanding upsets, things that perhaps have dragged you down in the past, that you've had to work hard to really become much more aware of what you will and will not accept, and becoming more protective of yourself. But that particular new moon can be about valuing yourself as much as about money, and it does forge a very good link to Saturn. So the harder you've worked in terms of clearing out what's not been working in your life over the last year, the more you can start to reap the benefits over the next month. Then on the 13th, Mercury ends its post-retrograde shadow in your sign, which began on the 25th of April. So it may have been a stop-start period for you. You may have started something from the 19th of March that then didn't work out. Even if that was hugely frustrating, there is a wider reason for why it didn't work out, is because there's something better that's emerging for you, even if it's not emerged just yet. But then on the 15th, Mercury moves forward. So if you have been grappling with some kind of creative plan, and you really haven't had it easy, but you've persisted and persevered, you will start to see things improve from the 15th. But of course, Mercury does square up to Pluto. So once again, you're asked the question, is what you're doing in terms of your finances really fitting with your higher values and your long-term plan? If the answer to that is yes, Mercury will reward you. The 20th, however, sees life really pick up speed. And it can be really exciting, particularly if you have been caught up in this transitional period of the psychological stuff of Pisces, the stuff around your identity and really trying to express your creativity and flair, Aries. The Taurus stuff, very much about your foundations. It's been quite the time. Now things can just go so much faster, and it can be very, very exciting. There can be lots of communications whizzing backwards and forwards, and because the Sun forges an awesome link to Pluto, something can just shift in your life that you've been yearning for a very long time. And maybe it's connections to new people who do get you. So you can see there's a kind of big transition that's been going on. It's been about sifting out of your situation, becoming much more aware of your personal power and what you need as an individual. But because you have had those past connections or past investments or past involvements, you can't just go, bang, that's it, they go in one go. It takes time for things to evolve. And by the time of the 20th through to the 23rd, such an important period for you to really shift things forwards, but then your finances really can take a much needed upturn as Jupiter and Venus come together, the two planets of fortune, exactly. And this occurs from the 24th to the 26th, but it is such a wonderful conjunction. It really, really is. And part of the reason that it occurs is we have the full moon that can see an intensity in conversations, But then we have Venus moving on the 23rd and Jupiter on the 25th, both into Gemini. And therefore, the things that you've been saying for some while, suddenly people are really much more conscious of what you've got to offer, much more intrigued. They want to connect with you. A sense of excitement and freshness comes into your situation. Also, from the 26th through to the end of the month, but on to the 11th of June, Jupiter and Pluto forge an awesome alliance. And I think that's one of perhaps the most important planetary aspects for the whole of the year, which peaks on the 3rd. So things are really going to sweep forwards in a very, very dynamic way as this month draws to a close. A lot of social invitations, could be some flirty stuff. You may find yourself traveling. One thing's for sure, it will not be dull. So what a month. Sometimes where I live, they say you can have 4 seasons in a day. I think that's rather like what can happen for you this month. A lot of things to get through for sure, but Mars moving into your sign is the trigger for a lot of very positive developments. But it is true that some things that have been important in the past, very important and have provided some stability to you, may need to make way. But they're going to make way or they're going to come through for you. It depends what's particularly appropriate for you, because every single Aries will have their own unique take on situations. There is a collective energy that this forecast can represent, but it's just how it plays out for you personally. So there could be some payback, could be some breakthroughs, but there could be some fresh starts. But certainly by the end of the month, it's going to be so zesty and fun, you'll be absolutely delighted. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Aries. I hope you have a fantastic May. If you've yet to do so, please do subscribe to my channel and click or tap on the bell notification symbol.